Well, this is what happens when you keep going. A new project starts, doesn't get completed. Then another new one starts, and another new one, and then there's already a new one in mind, and yeah, sometimes you end up with very, very many journals that were started and never completed. And if that is something that has happened to you too, then I hope I can help you with this video. Because today we're going to talk about how we can actually solve that problem. Hi everyone, and welcome to my pretty full little craft corner. I am Tabby, and I am slowly going through all of these projects that I once started but never finished. And now they're just sitting on my shelf, taking up a whole part of my kallax, and that is why I thought I have to make a decision. What do I actually want to do with these? Some of them I am pretty sure I want to finish this year, and some of them I might not want to finish at all because my style has changed or my taste has shifted a little bit. Yeah, and then what do I do with the things that I may not finish anymore? And I thought maybe I just take you along for this process because I believe, or at least I hope, that I'm not the only one who feels this way. Yeah, so let's start with three relatively simple projects or simple decisions, at least for me. This first one here is, yeah, as you can see, an envelope, and I have already collaged on it a little bit, and I actually wanted to turn it into a journal or some kind of a folio with a journal inside, with little pockets and maybe a few flip out elements. But now I have to say, the way I collaged on it, I personally don't like it quite as much anymore, and I think this little project is the first one to go today. These two here are rather small journals or notebooks, and I started these in one of those sessions. These mass make sessions where I made, I think, around about 10 of them, and I think I even still have the finished ones somewhere. But at some point, I just, yeah, lost the interest to keep going with these two. But I do think I definitely want to finish these two. Yeah. As you can see, I think this was also the point where I got a little bit frustrated. I ended up cutting the pages way too small to fit in here properly. So I do have to adjust the cover a little bit. Actually, not a big deal, but after I had already finished 10 of these, I just had no more desire for that particular one. Still, yeah, I find this a beautiful little project. And then I still have, and I think I even have several of these projects where I once put together a signature or compiled a little kit, or I even made small things to go with it. So, yeah, that everything fits together nicely. And somehow, in the middle of it all, I just lose interest or motivation to work on it. And I still like it and think this kit is really beautiful. And honestly, I do not know exactly what stopped me, but I think it is about new projects and new ideas that came in my mind. And as you can see, for this one, I have already cut out quite a few things from Ephemera and prepared them. So most of the time, I always have much more on Ephemera than what I will actually end up using in a journal. But I think it's always better to have too much than too little and don't know what to bring in the journal. Yeah, and now that I'm going through the signature and the ephemera again, I really, really like it. This one here, I think, is also a relatively old project. I think I made it quite early in my junk journal days. And yeah, since then I have tried again and again to place it in some journal, somewhere it would fit, like yeah, like style wise, but yeah, it just doesn't feel right anymore. I don't like it the way I used to, and I think that's okay, and that is why this one, yeah, it will be given away. And these are such beautiful tags, I would call them, or journal cards. You can write on the back, and on the front, I have sewn on fabric scraps. And this whole project will definitely stay. And then I have projects like this, which is really in the end just a signature. But I already combined it with a journal cover. Yeah, but that's basically it. As you can see, it is still relatively naked. No topper, no pockets, nothing, yeah, really done inside. Just a cover and a signature. And when I look at it, I think it's beautiful. I cannot say I don't find it beautiful, but it's also nothing that makes me think like, oh, I really want to work on this year. I don't think so. And especially when I see or think about all the other projects that I already have lined up or already came up with for 2026. And these are just the journals themselves, not even projects to go with the journals like Ephemera or whatnot. Yeah, that is why I think, even though I find this cover so beautiful and it is actually made from wallpaper, yeah, even though I think this one will also be something I will give away. So yeah, that someone else can have fun with it and finish finish it the way they like. Yeah, I think it will go. And then we have, yeah, I think you can't really call this a real project, but it is something I had set out to do, like to do a journal with this really pretty kit here that is called Magnolia, I think. And I had already printed a few extra pages that I would like to use from other kits. And as you can see, it is in a, yeah, still in a pretty raw state. Yeah, so not much has happened yet. And yeah, I have to apologize here cause I think I nicked the camera a few times, so sorry about that. But as you can see, I have at least used a thing or two from the kit. And on the printed papers, you can also see the Etsy shop. If you are interested to work with this journal kit, I think you can still download it over there. Yeah, but back to the kit, I find, well, I think it is really pretty, and since not much has gone into it yet, except a few, yeah, printed pages basically, I will keep this for now and I'm going to finish it. I'm pretty sure about that. And it also doesn't take up that much space, and that is actually one of my reasons for wanting to sort things out a bit in the first place. Because every time I look at this shelf, it feels like a bit like a shelf of shame because I started all of this. I've never finished any of it, and it also simply takes up a lot of space. And yes, those were the two main reasons why I didn't want to just keep going like this. And then we have a journal cover, another journal cover, and a journal cover. Yes, a few journal covers that I've made and never used, or that I made for specific projects and then replaced them with, yeah, basically something else. So, number one is this one. This is what I had originally planned for a journal I was making for a friend, and then I ended up deciding on something completely different for it. And so this one was just, yeah, left over. And as you can see, I still need to fix the edge down here because the fabric cause yeah the fabric was just not cut quite right. But I think that is actually easy to fix. You can just stick a bit of lace or a pocket over it. And basically, I do think it's beautiful, but I currently have no project in mind for it. So, yeah, I'm going to give myself a limit, let's say maybe 3 months or maybe four. And I haven't found a project for it by then. It will also be given away, but for now it will stay. Oh, yes, I remember this one. I originally made it for a journal too, and then just remade it and took something else. But I still like the cover, and I think it's really pretty, and I can see it working for many different projects, so this one will stay. This one, yeah, I actually like it. It still needs some love, of course, some edges that need to be tidied up, maybe a topper, some pockets, but it was a lot of fun to make. I made this completely from fabric, sewn back and forth across it, and yeah, it was really fun. And I think, yeah, it is really, really beautiful too. It is just like the first one I showed you. I need to find a project for that. And if not, it will go. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is unfortunately a case of I really like it from the outside, but from the inside, I don't like it at all. The paper I used on the inside was kind of a scrapbooking paper. I just don't like it anymore. So I think I will probably redo this one, cover the inside with fabric or maybe a different kind of paper, and hopefully be able to remove the lace without any accidents. Yeah, this is definitely a project I will redo because the cover itself is, yes, still completely or still totally my cup of tea. So I really, really like it. And it is actually made from leftovers from a curtain. And it is velvet and it feels really nice, so super soft. So this one stays, but it needs some work. And that brings me to my three categories, which are keep, redo, or give away. And as I said, this cover is definitely a stay. It is for a longer journal, not so slim, but a longer journal, and I like it. I do still need to work on the edges a bit, but in itself, I like it, and I already have an idea what I could put in here. And here, I honestly don't even know how this happened, but I think I simply cut the fabric way too short. And this was one of my experiments to create a journal cover with a combination of bubble wrap and packaging paper. And it gives such a soft but bumpy base. You can see how everything is kind of uneven in this journal. And I like the fabric, or both of the fabrics, and I want to use those. I like the pockets and I like the trim up here. But it all just looks so terrible right now. And I think that was also the point where I got super frustrated with this project and just, yeah, I had just sewn everything together and was so unhappy with the results that I just left it and never touched it again. So now I will cut the seams, I will redo this. I can still use the fabric, I can also use this fringe trim, and I actually wanted that for one of my bee journals I wanted to make this year. So this is also a project that I simply have to redo. And the exact same thing happened with this cover. Also bubble wrap and packaging paper inside, and it just does not give a good base. Everything gets bumpy and crumpled, and I can't iron it either because, well, there is plastic inside, and then would probably everything melt completely. So I will open it up, try to remove the plastic film, and then resew it. I think that could actually work because here at the outside it looks quite good. It is only where it folds that is that no longer works. And I think that is quite easy to fix. And it stays. Yeah, and here we can already see, things that happened. It is the same combo again, paper and bubble wrap inside. And for some reason, this has warped in a way that it just keeps folding in the wrong way and it is completely crooked. But on the positive, the fabric itself, I think it's really beautiful. But I will say in retrospect, for a cover, I would probably not recommend jersey fabric because jersey stretches, and as you can see, that has caused some issues here. The corners are not beautiful, the edges aren't sewn perfectly, so yeah, I think I will also open this and redo it completely. I think I will take an existing book cover as a base and then cover it with the jersey fabric because then I have a flexible fabric but a sturdy base. And that is, yes, that is what was missing here. I had a flexible fabric, a flexible packaging paper, and a flexible bubble wrap, and nothing had any real substance to tie everything on. But now, now I know better, and I can fix that. Here we have a journal. As you can see, the topper is still missing, but I have finished the cover so far. And I have also already been working inside. I have already prepared quite a few things to decorate this journal with, and some of it I had even started gluing in. And at some point, I just didn't feel like it anymore. And when I look at it now, I don't even understand why. Because I really like it. I really like it. I had started, yeah, and I think that was the reason. I had started several journals with this kit. I think it's called Daisy. And at some point, the interest just left me to create several journals with the same theme or topic or the same kit. Over here, I have some pages that I glued together like this, and I always think that is a nice alternative when you have digital papers. You can, of course, just print them back to back, but I also quite like to just take packaging paper or use leftover paper that you can write on and use that as the back side or as the back of the digital page. It makes everything a bit more sturdy and it adds a bit more variety. As you can see, I already added some interactive elements in here and I really decorated some pages, but the more I'm going through this journal, and at one point I really had to turn off the camera just to think about it, and I just noticed nothing really draws me to this journal anymore. It is not that I think, yes, I definitely want to work on this. It is different from, for example, the other one that I showed you, where I immediately thought, yes, I would definitely still like to do that. And the only thing holding me back from saying it goes is that I know I have already invested a lot of time in it. And I think we all do that sometimes. We hold on to something just because of the time already invested, or maybe the money already invested. But I don't think I will want to make this. And I also don't want to just pass it on half finished and without any love just to get it done. Because I want to like what I do. I want to have fun doing what I do. And that is why this one will leave me. And then we have a whole plastic folder, yes, also with a small project. And I have to be honest, I have used these papers a lot. It is called Naturalist, by the way. I always used it to design any kind of ephemera for other journals. And I have also designed a calendar with it that I created for a friend of mine. And yeah, I have used it a lot, but I've never actually made a journal out of it. And to be honest, I think I already have way too much material for just one journal. I will probably make 2 or 3 journals out of it. And I already have the covers for 2 of them in mind. So, yeah, just let me show you briefly what is in here in this kit. Yeah, I just think it is so incredibly beautiful. I love all of these illustrations, the animals, the plants, and I love this watercolor look. These soft colors, I like that so much. Isn't that the cutest? It is so incredibly well illustrated, and this kit offers so much. To be honest, it was not only one kit, it is offered as several kits, but I still think for a very, very good price. And what I like especially is that it has big pages, smaller pages, so much ephemera you can use. And I think I will make one journal with animals as the theme and one with plants. And here you can see pages that work more as background pages or collage pages. And I think the kit was actually made in a way that you could use it completely on its own to put together a journal. But of course, I like to combine it with book pages, dyed paper, all kinds of other things. There are so many beautiful ideas in here, like these wonderful bookmarks, everything so well designed. And yeah, to be honest, I could probably make more than 2 or 3 journals from this, but that is my plan for now. I have already folded up some pages that I will definitely use. Yeah, so this one will stay. And it will be a project that I will tackle this year. And here we have another very nice kit that I've already created a fabric flip for, as you can see. And I quite like to make them from fabric scraps, cause on the one hand, They are quite nice as an interactive element, and at the same time, you can, of course, also take it apart if you want to and just use it all over the journal. Yeah, for this journal, I printed on both sides and I just put the kit together quite roughly like this. And so far, there are only the pages from the kit itself in here. And yeah, as you can see, some of them I have also glued together so that the one-sided prints have a back now and they have a bit more stability. So yeah, that's a little bit of a variety, as I told you before. And I think for those, I will then sew around all the pages. Yeah, and I think that would just fit this beautiful and playful and romantic kit quite nicely. And it is, yeah, just nice to flip through all these projects again and to see what you have there and what you like and what you don't like anymore, and just become some clarity about that, I think. I have also prepared and cut out some things, but there are still things that I have to do. Give some of these a background so they become a proper journal card, for example. Yeah, so there's still a bit of work ahead of me. And as you can see, I also love to use book pages as a base because that way you can use all of these beautiful book pages, of course. And this is also an envelope made from a book page. And this one is also from the kit itself. Yeah, I still need to do a little something here. It is still a bit naked, I would call it. Yeah, now that I'm going through it, I think I would definitely like to finish this journal this year, especially because it has been, yeah, really a while now since I last worked on it. And it also has been a while since I made such a romantic and feminine journal. Yeah, and this feels like the right time to do this again. I am showing you this a little bit because I hope it simply inspires you. Maybe you also go through your things again, and maybe you don't even have this problem because you always finish what you start. But maybe this gives you a little idea of what you can do, and maybe sometimes also just gives you the courage to let things go or simply redo things. And just to come to the conclusion that times things simply no longer yours, or in my case, no longer mine. And that is completely okay. But for this one, I can say this is one that definitely stays. And then we have two things here that are completely separate from each other. And I start with this signature that I made but never completed. Yeah, and it is unfortunately also a journal that just no longer grabs me. I do actually really like the color green, but this particular light green, it feels a little bit poppy somehow, and it no longer speaks to me. It is no longer something I say, yes, I really, really want to do that. So this one will leave me too. Even if it is beautiful, I'm not going to say it isn't, but I will not do anything more with it. And here, yeah, and here, I don't even know what this was for, to be honest. Yeah, that's, I think, what happens when you leave something on the shelf for too long. You just forget about it. Yeah, but in any case, I compiled quite a lot of ephemera, some bags, envelopes I made, pockets. One of these is made almost like a coin envelope, but without the flap, so it stays open at the top. And this is a kind of a pocket that I have actually shown in my last flip through. So if you want to see how to make them, I am happy to show you. Just tell me in the comments, because they are also a good way to use up all these paper pads we may collect over time. Yeah, but for now, these are just sitting here, and I will use them in the journals I still want to make, and if not, they will go back into my prepared material stash, or I'll just leave them as they are. Oh, I also found this here. I think it is an idea from Treasure Books, and I just really liked that. And yeah, I think it is just a beautiful little interactive element. But yeah, besides that, these things I will keep for now and see what I can do with them. And here we have something I didn't even know what was inside the cover, to be honest. And yeah, it is just another project that I kept somewhere on the shelf with others and constantly stuffed them together because I haven't worked on it further. Yeah, and then it might end like this. As you can see, with bent and torn edges, which is fine in this case because I still have to shorten the edges anyway. Yeah, but this is also a kit that I still find incredibly cute. It is so romantic, and at the same time, it is so sweet with the little bunnies. And I know I have used it before to make decorative things, but I've never actually used the kit itself for a journal. And here I did the same thing. I printed the pages directly on each other, and I have already arranged the signatures. So at least I already put everything together, but I already know that I won't use the cover because I don't like that one anymore for this journal. Even though I like the cover itself very much, I also used this fabric for the spine of my library journal that I have shown you in my last video. And yeah, I will link it down below in case you missed that. Yeah, but I still think it is pretty, but I don't think it fits this journal or this style at all. For yeah, this I will either make a new cover or use an existing one that I already have. Yeah. And as you can see, I have already cut out all the things that belong to this journal. And I think when you take an old project back into your hands and you feel that, yes, I really want to do this now, then it is the right one. So this one stays. And for this project, I have also already made a few things. For example, this double pocket and some decorations that are still in my like general ephemera box. And yeah, I wanted to create a Beatrix Potter journal back in the time and was super excited about it. And when I go through this, I think it's cute. It is really cute. But at the same time, I believe it doesn't speak to me anymore. And to be honest, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is just because I personally don't have that nostalgic connection from my childhood, what others may have. But at the same time, I find it really cute. But for this one, I think the cover doesn't fit really well. So I would probably make a different cover for this too. And maybe that is my problem with that, that everything somehow doesn't quite fit together in any case. Yeah, this is a strong maybe, a very strong maybe. Yeah, but actually, I think I already made my decision. If I'm doing a flip through and I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it, or if I like it, but I think that that's the case where I have to let it go. As I said before, if it is not a like, yes, I want to do it now, it has to go. And now we have this one, and I think you already know the cover if you have seen my tutorial where I showed you 6 different ways to bind a journal besides the 3 whole pamphlet stitch. And I would definitely still like to use that because I've always wanted to make a really large journal, like based on, yeah, A4 or a little bit taller. And I have already collected all kinds of things like ephemera for it, like, yeah, quite a big collection to choose from, I think. And many of these projects I did for or with Roxy's weekly challenge. And here I have printed on acetate. Oh no, no, it's vellum. And I made a combination of papers that you can use later on throughout the journal. Just take it apart and then use the pages in the journal. We have a few tags and a small notebook that I made with quite a few fabric elements, really grungy with many different textures. Yeah, totally mine. Yeah, and here again, I put together a set of papers in a long slim format. And here is a playing card that I altered, and I created it like a door. So you glue the frame down and have a loose part just to open and close. Yeah, like a door, basically. And here I worked with my old texture paste and also a picture from a magazine. And for a long time, I found it difficult to work with them because magazine images are often very shiny and very modern looking. And as you may know, I love my vintage style. So in this case, I took some white acrylic paint, painted over it with a very, very thin layer. Yeah, so it loses that shine. And I think I used white and then a like sand colored acrylic paint. And yeah, then it got this real vintage character. And after that, I added texture paste with a stencil and went over that with more acrylic paint or maybe watercolor. I'm not completely sure about that. And here we have a project that turned out so cute because I used this naturalist kit that I told you before. And I also used a kit that is called, I think, Woodland Creatures, where you only have these ATC cards. And yeah, at that point, I kind of lost it because these illustrations are so adorable. And yeah, I always had to touch it, and it was so cute. And when I prepare ephemera, I quite like to make larger journal cards or tags too, but of course, for a small journal, they are just mostly too tall. Of course, you can use them as a page itself in there. Yeah, but I wanted to really use it as a decoration now. And these pages here, they actually come from this book when I took it apart, and I don't want to use them all in here, but I like to have just options when I assemble the pages later on, and the rest of it I will just use in other projects. Yeah, but this is definitely a project that stays with me and that I also definitely want to finish this year. And yes, I know I just said I have never made such a big journal. And yeah, but now I remember I've actually already tried these long, slim format journals, but it's not like a really large journal, if you know what I mean. And this was actually one of my first journals that I created. And yeah, you can tell that it has been with me for several years now. And the outside or the cover is made from wallpaper. And it has such a lovely structure. That's why I just brought it a little closer that you can really see the structure on the cover. And it feels so nice. And yeah, I just simply bound it with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And the inside I decorated this way. I took some music sheet paper and just glued it on the inside of the wallpaper and then added another layer of glue over it. That is okay, but I would definitely do that differently today. And I think I would go over it again with some acrylic paint because of the way it is now, it is a little bit shiny and I don't typically like that anymore. Yeah, and I would also say the signature in here is a little too small. So you can either add laces on top also to stick out above or below if you like that. Or I can just put things on top of the existing pages, like smaller book pages or decorative things, just to stick out a little. Or I could use book page scraps along the edges. So I think there are definitely possibilities just to alter these pages a little bit that they fit better in the cover itself. And I put it together quite eclectic from all kinds of things that I had back in the time. Yeah, and then I just put it together like this. But when I see it today, I really feel the interest again to work on it. And as you can see, there are also some digitals where I didn't even cut off the wide edges. But I think I thought I would just stick something else on top of it anyway, so I think that was intentionally. Yeah, but I do feel like working on this again, and I already get some ideas in my mind what I could do to it. Here I also have some pages that I dyed with some acrylic paint, and I really like the effect on these pages. In this case, it was a solution of acrylic paint and coffee, or the solution was really thin, so almost like watercolor in the end. And then I just added the coffee, so it still has a little bit of that, yeah, vintage feel. So I'm quite sure this one definitely stays. And now we're coming to the last project, and at that point, I haven't even counted how many I have started, but now I know it is 21 projects. This is a journal, I would say I base it a little bit on the idea of all these Agatha Christie novels with this classic whodunit. And I've already decorated the cover, though I think I will still add a few things because it feels a little flat to me right now. And I will definitely change these seams around here because I like the type of this slow stitching, and I think it's quite beautiful, but the thread I used is too thin, I think, and I would like something a bit thicker. And I also used some of this, how is it called, like cheesecloth to decorate the journal cover. And the idea behind this journal is actually I have written myself a story, so just in bullet points, not a complete story. And then I worked with ChatGPT a little on it. I just gave it the bullet points and it helped me assemble them into, yeah, like a complete storyline. And I also created a character named Helena Ashcroft, and this journal is basically hers, where she just take all her notes to solve that case. And I also came up with a title already, and we have some suspects. And yeah, I just want to go with you through it closely. And to work in this journal was quite interesting for me, or like a quite interesting experience, because I started it and then I stopped it, and then I started it again and stopped it again. And as you can see, some things have already been done, and some things I've, yeah, just the signatures got together basically. And yeah, throughout the journal, I always got in these little clues. And I built the journal so that you can actually follow this story in it. And at the same time, I wanted it to work as a journal even without the story elements, so that whoever will get this journal can just take it out. And yeah, throughout the journal, we always have these little records for Helena. She just wrote down. Yeah, and as I said, I left them loosely in here. And when the journal is finished someday, yeah, the person who gets it can take them out or leave them in, however they prefer. So, in a total, I came up with three signatures. And I think also in the second one, I have also done quite a bit. And yeah, you can find these notes on various papers. Yeah, just notes she, also, so like Helena made for herself. And then it stops again in between. And I think what was hard for me was to pull this story through consistently. Sometimes my ideas ran out, or I don't have a specific idea for how to implement one specific element. And that was exactly what made it a little difficult for me. But I still like it. I still like it a lot, to be honest. And I think it is simply a project where I work on it when inspiration comes, and when it stops, it is okay that it stops, and then I will work on it again. So, yeah, I think it is kind of an on and off project, because it is, yeah, it does take quite a bit of more effort, so to say, to just keep this story consistently and just implement this story, and not only creating a journal loosely on one theme, if you know what I mean. But I would like to finish it this year. I'm pretty sure about that. And to be honest, since I have it in my hands now, I don't know yet if this journal will ever leave my house, because this one is already a little bit personal to me, and it is completely, or it is totally my style. It is so me, so maybe I will keep it for me. So now I have gone through everything I have already started, or where I've at least printed something or compiled something. And yeah, unfortunately, never finished or never continued. But of course, I also have many other ideas I have collected during this time, and these are actually the ones I have written down for this year. And yes, these are only the ones that I thought about last year or at the beginning of this year to finish them or to start them. And among other things, I wanted to make journals which are inspired by an author. And I don't know if you know Nick the Booksmith. She has made these journals that are inspired by certain authors. And yeah, I think it's such a lovely idea. So, for example, I thought about making a Kafka journal or a Stefan Zweig journal, one of my absolute favorite authors. And yeah, just try to think into that world, thinking into those works, and then bring that into a journal. So that was my idea. To be honest, I don't know how I should finish all these projects that I wrote down, and additionally, all these that I want to keep now from my pile of unfinished projects. Yeah, but that's how it is. We will see how it turns out, I think. So let me go through it once again, but just briefly. These are the things I want to keep. These are the ones I will redo because they can't, yeah, quite be used as they are yet. And these are the ones that will leave me. In this case, as I said, I'm giving myself a little bit time to decide if I want to use it or not. And yeah, the Beatrix Potter journal, as I said, I have now decided I'll let it go. If I'm already going through a flip through and I'm not quite sure why I don't like it, then it's not ideal just to keep it. And if I ever feel like it again, it is a digital kit. I can print it again whenever I want to. So the Wildflower kit will also leave me. And I also decided on this journal cover that I created from scraps. I just want to let it go now because I have nothing in my head or in my mind for what I want to use it for. And I can always recreate a similar cover again. So, all of these journals I would also love to give away to, yeah, somebody from this community, of course. So, if you're somehow interested in it, so in any of these journals or projects that I'm giving away, just feel free to write it down in the comments. I think if you're not in the EU, I don't know, it might be a little bit difficult with shipping. I have to come up with an idea about that. But yeah, besides that, just tell me what you would like to work on maybe, and I could, yeah, would just gift it to you then. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope this has given you a little bit of, yeah, first of all, the feeling that you're not alone in this. And also maybe just go through your stack before it gets as big as mine and before 50 more ideas come on top of it. But also, you can just be honest with yourself. Would I still like to do this or would I not? And yes, you sometimes just find small treasures again, things you completely forgot about that you will then really, really enjoy. So to collect dust on my shelf is no longer an option for me. So let's see at the end of the year how far I have come with all of this. And I wish you a crafty day. Maybe you find some beautiful little treasures today too. And I hope to see you soon again. Until then, bye.